Hi Kiwi, alright, we are back at another episode of Pokemon Shining Pearl. Now, it's been a couple days since I last played, but we're going to pick up right where we left off on our way to whichever lake this is, I've already forgotten. And I see we're going to be having our reunion with Cynthia.
Oh, hello there. Long time no see. How is your Pokedex filling up? I came to research the
I'm trying to remember. It was like I was trying to be Frieza or Imperfect Cell, somewhere in between those two. I'm gonna try and go a little higher on the register.
I came to research the folklore about the lake, but, well, it doesn't appear as if the lake is open to the public now.
I like what I had going before.
Have you heard about the folklore about it? They say there is an island inside the lake, and that a mysterious Pokemon resides in there. No one must enter the chamber of that Pokemon. Sorry to change the subject, but have you seen the group of Psyduck on Route 210?
Yes.
Yes, that's right, by the cafe on Route 210. 210. You've seen that group of Psyduck huddled with their heads in their, hands?
That's what they're called, right? Hands? Like what? Why the weird punctuation on that?
Anyway, what you should do is use this medicine on the Psyduck. You're working on a Pokedex, so it would be worthwhile to you.
You obtained the secret medicine. Is it marijuana?
I went on a big adventure with a Pokedex when I was younger. It may help you uncover the secret behind the mysterious Pokemon you're searching for. I hope you meet every kind of Pokemon there is to see. See you later.
Alright, cool, Cynthia. I thought you were gonna help us fight the weird, sketchy team that's clearly doing nefarious deeds at this lake, but I guess not.
To protect the lake. It's nice to know that there are still people worth admiring like that. Believe his name was Cyrus.
You're not gonna let us in?
We've been asked to keep everyone out of the lake area. Reason? I'm not too sure, but apparently to protect the lake.
So I can't go in anymore. So now, I guess we just get to know that Team Galactic is doing things with the lake? Okay. So now do we go to Heart Home City? Let's see. Help the group of Psyduck on Route 210. So I think we can just fly there, right? I don't even remember where 210 is. There it is. Okay. Let's go ahead and fast travel to Salacion Town, I suppose. Interesting. I know we have to go to Heart Home City for our 5th gym. At least I'm pretty sure we do. So interesting that we have some weird backtracking that isn't actually in the direction I thought it would be, considering, what was it, Pastoria City? But wherever we just were with Crasher Wake leads back to Heart Home. We proved that in the previous episode. No matter, we'll just keep moving along for now. And I never keep straight what button it is to press to get the bike out. At least I remember now. Alright, here are our Psyduck who need some marijuana to feel the betters. The Psyduck are standing firm. They aren't inclined to move at all. Would you like to use the secret medicine? Yes, I would. The Psyduck appear to be cured of their chronic headaches. Oh, Kiwi, whatever this medicine is, we should invest in some. That's cute. They all kind of awkwardly waddle off. Oh, okay, that one's just a little bit slow. Fun fact, Psyduck is actually my sister's favorite Pokemon.
Oh good, you used the secret medicine I gave you.
There we go, I think that's about the voice I wanted for her.
Psyduck are known to suffer from chronic headaches, but no one's been able to figure out what triggers the headaches.
It's their latent psychic abilities. That's always been like the Pokedex context for it.
Oh yes, can I ask you a big favor? I want you to deliver this old charm to my grandma in Celestic Town. I know there are some rare Pokemon between here and Celestic Town, so it'll be worth your while to go.
Sure, I obtained the old charm. Let's go meet your grandma, Cynthia.
My grandmother has a sort of bossy air about her. I think you'll recognize her right away. Yes, I'm sure you will. She's the eldest of the Celestic Town.
I lost the voice, but like I'm getting progressively deeper as I stick with it. It's just one of those voices I don't use often enough and need to practice. Also not great for my throat.
As for the location, look on your town map. You can't miss it. Okay, I'm counting on you. See you again down the road.
Bye, Cynthia. I will see you in my nightmares. Bye. All right, so we're still technically on Route 210, but maybe we reach a new route at some point here, and we can catch a new member for the team. At the bare minimum, we can at least add things to the Pokedex, I suppose. If you've noticed on the channel, I have uploaded 3 Hades episodes in a row, and normally I like to alternate Hades or whatever it is. I like to alternate series. That way, if I fall super behind on recording of one, or I don't feel the motivation to play a game, I can just upload a different episode. And that's kind of what happened. This has been a very busy week for us, and unfortunately I ran out of pre-recorded Pokemon episodes. So I actually recorded 3 Pokemon episodes in a row with the intent of knowing that this week was going to be busy. It was just unfortunately I had 2 days where I couldn't record at the end of that spree of recordings. So here's my kind of catching up. Admittedly, I'm probably only going to record 1 Pokemon today, but it's nice to finally get the ball rolling on that again, because it's just been like lingering in the back of my head. As it turns out, I'm also actually out of Hades episodes. Number 97, which I believe I uploaded yesterday, is actually the last recorded Hades episode I have available at the time as well. But that's a lot easier to record for me. I can play Hades to infinity and beyond, and I haven't even gotten into the modding scene yet, so I don't think I'm gonna run out of things to do in that game anytime soon. Oh, we got Celestabeth at 37. My brain is like, this is when she evolves, but I'm probably wrong. Okay, good. I'm like, that would be a really weird specific bit of Pokemon information to know. We are getting, I'm just trying to see if there are any items on the floor to pick up, but I'm just belaboring our existence in this route. Anywho, so what did we do this week? Well, Kiwi asked me not to talk too much about it, so I'll limit it to just we had a doctor's appointment, we went. Overall, health is doing very good for us. I think we've certainly turned our lives around in terms of physical wellness. All of my blood parameters have improved, which feels great. I'm still slightly short on vitamin D, but it basically quadrupled from what it used to be, so much better. Supplements help a lot, as it turns out. More excitingly, in celebration of being told that we are healthier individuals, I decided to cook the most unhealthy celebration meal possible. We had some leftover meat sauce, which Kiwi wanted to eat, but it wasn't enough for both of us. So I decided to make something that Kiwi tends not to like. Kiwi's not big on fish as a whole. So I decided I'm gonna make a clam sauce. And instead of following the recipe I usually follow, where I use a reasonable amount of olive oil, but no butter, to minimize the amount of how terrible that sauce is going to be for me, I just followed an online recipe, which called for half a cup of oil, a quarter cup of butter, and then the clams, of course. But I ate probably about 2/3 a pound of pasta plus all of that. So a quarter cup of oil, half a cup of olive oil, and a quarter cup of butter. And so between the vaccines we got that day, I got 2, my flu and my COVID shots, and then I ate all that. I woke up at 5:30 the following day in a fit of chills and terrible gastric pain, which was entirely avoidable. You know, it's funny, I talked with my doctor. Hey, you know, I have inflammatory or irritable bowel syndrome or whatever it is. You know, a sensitive stomach that is triggered by specific foods, high-fat foods, too much dairy, that sort of thing. And you know what I go and do? I just say, well, you know what? I'm healthy, or I'm healthier than I've ever been, as far as my doctors are concerned. Let's just undo all that in one evening. And as it turns out, maybe it's the sort of like, you know, there's a really, and let me make this clear, I do not think this is a healthy way of parenting necessarily, but I'm not a parent, so I can't judge too much. But the idea, there's this idea that like, if you want to make your kid not want to do something, you make them do that thing until they are sick. And I've heard of parents doing that for smoking in particular, which just sounds miserable. Like, why would you want to do that to your kid? But like, you catch your kid smoking, so you force them to smoke like as many packs as they can until they are viscerally sick. And it sounds like a terrible way to dissuade someone from an addiction. Just like force them to like fully embrace it, because that's just gonna like, I don't know. I have opinions about that, and it feels like an adjacent thing to corporal punishment to me, which I also just have strong opinions against, for personal reasons and for things beyond that. But I won't go into that, and it's not really specifically targeted at my parents. Let me make that clear. Like, my parents were very loving, very supporting. My mom did grow up in the Italian family that did kind of support that sort of thing, but she never really made myself or my sister the target of those sorts of things. She was much more the timeouts and take things away that didn't belong, to like punish that way. Like, yes, negative. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of fog. All right, I guess I have to use the Pokédex here because we have an app. We got Defog, which apparently is an HM now. One of these is Hehe. 5. Today was brought to you by the number 5. Really, a wild Staraptor instead of the Staraptor that just happens to be in my party named Pine Tree. Cute. Alright. Now, is this a new route? I forget. Anyway, you are a trainer battle waiting to happen, I'm sure. Oh, you're not? What?
If I could use the hidden move Defog, I'd clear up the weather in 2 flaps of a Staravia's wings. How does Defog work, you ask? Bird Pokemon flap their wings to blow the fog away.
Cool. I guess I could have figured that out too, given... Oh, what? What? Where'd you come from?
I just startled you. While you were struggling to recover, I'll be already... While you're still struggling to recover, I'll already be the winner.
Okay, well, gotta look out for ninjas, I guess. Ninja Boy Joel. Poor Pokemon, wow. I like your onesie. Reminds me of Pajama Sam a little bit. Anyway, I digress. The point I'm trying to get to now that I've like vaguely reset my brain is, I was told I have improved my life in terms of overall wellness, both in terms of physical activity and dietary decisions, and then I tried to make the worst possible dietary decision and spent a full hour in the bathroom suffering the consequences and fighting the urge to vomit while kind of crying, kind of shivering, and too sick to the stomach to take Tylenol. My fever honestly was only about 100, so I think it was mostly the GI distress, but I seem to have like, when I get visceral pain, it hurts. But I think that's enough about that day. I will say at the very least, Kiwi, I appreciate that when you did wake up, you came and kind of just supported me while I was going through that. I'm glad, all things considered, the vaccine reactions didn't hit you too hard. We both felt kind of crummy for the next day and a half, but we powered through it. And after that 1 hour of just like, what have I done to myself? I was doing a lot better for the rest of the time. I feel like I've said this a number of times. I don't really drink. I don't really imbibe in any sort of illicit substances, and I have no opinions on how you want to choose to live your life. I'm not a fan of it in my body. Being an asthmatic, smoking has never been appealing, and I think the main reason I've never gotten into alcohol is I'm super picky with drinks to begin with, and I hate any drinks that have quote-unquote texture to them. Like, I don't mind pulp. Kiwi hates pulp, but what I do mind is anything carbonated or anything that kind of gives like an aftertaste, and like alcohol has both. It has the fizziness, the carbonation to it, and then on top of that, I always taste the alcohol after I finish drinking. Like, I breathe out and it kind of like leaves through my nostrils and kind of burns a little bit. It's like if you've ever had wasabi or horseradish, that back of the nose burning sensation that it provides is how I feel when I drink any sort of alcoholic beverage. So I think in the totality of my life, I have likely directly consumed alcohol twice. Once on my 21st birthday with my father, and then like one time on the like following celebration a little bit while later, I tried some wine just to see if like beer and wine were anything tenable to me, and I didn't like either, honestly.
What's with you? You didn't give me any openings.
It was just not for me. It's not for me. And then like, it's, again, if you want to drink, go for it. Drink like drink and imbibe on your vices responsibly is all I can ask. And whatever you do your best not to hurt others. I think that's the best way to be. Like, enjoy what you can, but limit the catastrophic effects to yourself, but also keep in mind that those catastrophic effects can affect other people. Namely, like if you are hurting yourself with those sorts of substances, people that care about you are likely getting hurt too. But we're gonna end that there. This is not where people come for like a wellness talk. This is just supposed to be chill, casual Pokemon, and I have spent half the episode now complaining about severe gastric pain, going to the doctor, and alcoholism.
As an ace trainer, I have to take battles in stride. I need to stay cool and calm whenever I win or lose.
Lose. Oh my goodness. As you can tell, I'm honestly, I'm the most slept I have been in days. I have been sleeping pretty darn well, all things considered. But when you're working up a deficit, I have to say at least the bags under my eyes look slightly less gray. So I'm netting positive for a change, despite still being in a pretty severe deficit, I suppose. I forgot, ace trainers are supposed to be like the challenge trainers on these routes. She has level 27 Pokemon compared to the other trainers that were in like the high teens, low 20s. But still nowhere close to where we are, I suppose. I'm running out of stomp. Everything in this area is resistant to fire attacks. Anywho, let's change the topic to something more exciting. We made more bread. That's always exciting, right? Yeah, so we have a go-to bread recipe that at this point I have just gotten memorized because we make it so often. And we do everything by grams. We weigh out everything because it's really convenient that way. The reason for that is, well, we don't need to use any measuring implements. We just pour everything directly into our mixing bowl, and it saves us a lot of dishes in the long run. It's super convenient. And honestly, it's just easier for tracking calories and making sure that we divvy things up appropriately. Like if we want to make a big bread and then divide it into, say, 16 rolls, we take the total weight of everything we added to the pot or the mixing bowl and then just divided it in 12.
We lost.
So our bread recipe, for those who are interested, is 723 grams of flour. Hold on, this is going to be a double battle. Let me set up for that. I don't think I want Celeste Bethel leading. She's a little too weak. Let's take Manny the Dude Buster and toss him up front, and then I think Captain Squawk, Manny the Dude Buster is a pretty solid synergy.
Jen, watch this. I'm going to use everything you've taught me.
I do hope this ends up being a double battle still. Oh, good. Jen and Zach, cute couple, all right. Raichu and Gyarados. Yeah, I'd say this is a pretty solid starting roster. I don't have any ground type moves on Gastrodon though. I can't wait till we get Earth Power to replace Body Slam. That'll give us really good type coverage and a really good damaging option. And we have Ice Beam to deal with grass types, although I will, to my best of my ability, avoid having Gastrodon in front of any sort of grass type because I don't want to lose Manny for a second. Manny's probably my favorite Pokemon on the team. Don't tell anyone else, okay? I do quite like Pine Tree and Captain Squawk, and oh, she looks very serious, doesn't she? All right, let's go ahead and hit that Raichu with an Ice Beam, I guess. I don't want to accidentally get hit by... Actually, I guess I can't. Static, if Raichu does have Static, it wouldn't affect Gastrodon because it's a ground type, I think. But we'll go ahead and Spark Gyarados, and that should knock these two out, or at least should take out Gyarados. Anywho, so... Oh man, I'm really upset that I've lost my train of thought because I was actually enjoying the topic I had. Gosh, what was it? Oh, right, the bread. So here's our bread recipe. 723 grams of flour, a teaspoon of salt, 454 grams of 90-degree water, and then in a separate container, you're gonna take 14 grams of active dry yeast. You're gonna take 113 grams of water between 110 and 115 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to mix those together with a tablespoon of sugar. You're gonna let that yeast rise. I let it get up to the top of our measuring cup, which is a 2-cup measuring cup. That doesn't really help because some measuring cups are kind of flatter, but anyway. Once the yeast has risen, I mix in the yeast water into the flour. And then I add the rest of the water, and I usually rinse out the yeast cup as well to get as much of the yeast in as possible. And then finally, the last thing that you can add into the flour, the initial flour step, is a tablespoon, or rather 2 tablespoons of whatever seasoning you want to flavor the bread with. Our go-to is rosemary, and then we also recently started putting caraway seeds into the bread.
I just got embarrassed in front of my little buddy here.
Wow, someone that's even better than Jen. Wait, I'm your little buddy? What?
Anyway, and then what we do is I usually have to add some flour to the mix because it often ends up being a bit more moist. I think upwards of 100 grams extra flour. I just add it until it's forming a nice solid dough.
You seem to have a lot of confidence. Let's see if it's justified.
And once that bread is nice and solid, I knead it for a good... I mean, you need it a good amount of time. In our stand mixer, it's like a good 5 minutes at a setting of 4, I think. But if you do it by hand, I usually do it for 10 to 15 minutes. It's a good arm workout. Kiwi and I like to take turns and just like feel physically exhausted by the time the bread is done being kneaded. Then you place it in an oiled container, let it rise for a good 10 minutes or so. Oh, I forgot to switch out Celeste Betha. Oh well, we'll let Manny the Dude Buster lead for a little bit here. These things could potentially have grass type moves, but I think we're fine. Not to mention it's a flying type, so we're gonna one-shot it with Ice Beam. Anyway, so take that bread, put it in an oiled container, and let it rise for a good hour. And then we partition it. We shape it and we partition it into whatever size we want. Sometimes we do a full loaf and we just kind of shape it into a big kind of like Italian or French bread sort of shape. Other times we will kind of divide it into some number of rolls. We've found that if you want a nice sized sandwich roll, kind of like a hamburger bun size, split it into 100-gram pieces. For smaller but still reasonably sized, we've been averaging closer to like 80, I want to say 70 or 80, and that still works for a reasonable sized sandwich. I would say kind of maybe like a slider sized sandwich, but we're both plenty happy with that size. But so we partition it into 12s or 16s or whatever we can fit onto the tray, usually dividing them into either 80 or 100-gram pieces. Again, being able to weigh this makes it so much easier to just divide things accurately. And once we think we're on to our last 2 rolls, we usually just split the 2 in half and by weight, and then just serve them or bake them that way. We we just use parchment paper, we line a baking tray, and then we toss that in the oven I found that I think it's a 425 Fahrenheit oven, at least for our oven. Cooking time may vary based on individual ovens, but we do that for 25 minutes and they get this beautiful golden brown crust on the outside. The bottoms are cooked but not moist, and the inside is aerated and fluffy enough that it's proved enough. I will say that proving time after the shaping is usually between 40 and 60 minutes. We have done more than that, and sometimes it overproves a little bit. A total loss for me. But that's our bread recipe, and as you can tell, I have made it so many times, and perhaps it's also just like slotted into my weird neurodivergent special interest side of things, which, oh, another ninja apparently. A ninja can use all sorts of cool techniques, but I have memorized our bread recipe because we make it so often, and even if we don't, oh, okay, that looks really odd. So in these, it seems like when you get into a trainer battle here and you're loading in, the outline of the terrain doesn't quite match the background, like the horizon, and it looks like there's just like weird splashing or streaking on the screen. I don't like that. That looks really kind of gross, kind of weird. Like when it happens again, I'll try and pause. I can't really pause, but I can point it out. My goodness, Manny the Dude Buster is so tanky. But yeah, I love making bread with Kiwi. It's one of those activities, like as a pair of people, that we just like, we do it to feel relaxed, feel good, and feel like a team, because we have optimized it so well. We know what we do and we do it best. We've kind of discussed this with each other when we play games like Factorio and things of that nature, where there's kind of a large scale and a more like focal point decision-making strategizing point of view. My ninja techniques failed to work. Where basically Kiwi is good at micromanagement. She is the smaller picture but the fine detail sort of focus, and I am the macro. I look at the bigger picture. I get the like industrial level optimizations going, and between the two of them, she can optimize things and then I can produce them on a larger scale, and that's kind of where our strengths and individual, I don't know what to call it, where our strengths lie and how we adapt well to our individual strengths as a team.
This buff physique isn't just for show.
But it's really fun. See, look. See, kind of like the dark splotches in the back. It's the terrain like partially loaded in. It looks wrong. Anyway, I love that Kiwi and I are just such a good team when it comes to things in the kitchen. She is often in charge of the dry ingredients. I'm often in charge of the wet ingredients. It's funny, the fact that like I was saying before, we've done this bread so many times that I know the ingredient, like what's it called? I know the exact grams required for the recipe. I also can kind of by feel tell the temperature of our tap water or the water that we're using. It's actually kind of also really funny. Basically, I know that if I turn our water to full temp and it just starts steaming, I give it maybe like 10 seconds longer and it's in that 110 to 115 range. And then for the 90 to 100 degree water, that's a little bit trickier, but I've also found like the exact point on the faucet where if I turn it, it is just hot enough. And then I keep a finger in it and I'm like, okay, this is like just below burning, but just above body temperature. And I'm like, there it is, there's the 90s. Oh my goodness, I hate these ninjas. I don't like that they're just like waiting for me here. We ninjas appear where you least expected. Yeah, I get that. I guess in hindsight, I should have expected a ninja guarding a randomly just out in the open item, but you know, not a fan of it. Nonetheless, this is an episode that kind of went all over the place, isn't it, Kiwi? We've been fighting we've just been doing a lot of trainer battles and wild battles, but none of us really expected this conversation topic. Kiwi, I will apologize though if there is maybe a little bit more commentary about the doctor visit than you wanted, but I kept it to a minimum. I kept your stuff blank, and then I lamented the fact that I'm an idiot with no self-restraint when it comes to food. That's really what it boils down to. I mean, it's always been a weird thing for me where if there's food in front of me, even if I'm full, I just compulsively eat. And I've clearly found ways to get that under control. It's to just take a portion and keep the main portion of that food away from me. But I didn't do that for the pasta. It was in a separate room. I was just like, this looks yummy. I enjoyed it. I want to eat more. It was so bad afterwards that morning that like the kitchen smelt of garlic and butter, and just smelling that made me like residually nauseous, unfortunately. But it is what it is. I have learned my lesson, and if anything else, it's a matter of, well, I'm not going to do that again. I'm very confident in saying I'm not going to do that again for a very long time. In other words, I'm not going to do that again for a while. Realistically speaking, I know that I will eat myself into hurting again because I don't have that restraint, unfortunately. I didn't expect to lose. But what I do know is that I'm not going to actively seek. I guess that's really it. I'm not going to seek it. And maybe having learned my lesson this time over, that's enough. It probably isn't. Knowing me, I am prone to making the same mistake ad nauseum and ad nausea, clearly. But I will be better. I'll teach you about the charms of bird Pokemon. I like this music. Very, very trumpety. You are challenged by Birdkeeper Brianna. I like the little bird gloves that they have. I appreciate that. Because in the anime, they often don't kind of address the fact that the bird Pokemon that like land on the trainers have like pretty sharp talons by canon, so wow, you've got a strong Hoot Hoot. We had a huge bump up in level suddenly. I appreciate that, because I mean, it's still nowhere close to where we need them to be a challenge, but we'll keep it going. We'll keep it going, and we'll eventually find something scary. Probably, like, there will be deaths on the Elite Four. There is no avoiding death on the Elite Four, but it feels like we've got a pretty clean stride up until that point. I don't know, I feel like as the routes get shorter, we're gonna run into more and more challenges pretty quickly, although I think for the sake of balancing in this game, they probably won't do that, although what do I know about balancing? All of my Pokemon are like in the upper 30s now, fighting upper 20 Pokemon in the wild. It's a fun little animation. It is what it is. I think we're fine. I think I would like to have a little bit more difficulty to my challenge, but I'm also honestly perfectly okay just having a casual romp while I ramble about the intricacies of life, and more importantly, the intricacies of bread. You know what we haven't made in a while, Kiwi? We are well overdue for a pita bread night. Make some nice chopped up cucumber, some chopped up tomato, a homemade tzatziki sauce that we stumbled upon.
Wow, I admit, I'm quite surprised.
I think his name was Chef PK. He does a lot of converting recipes shown in anime to, what the, that was not, oh my goodness, Kiwi, that, okay. I am on current patch. I don't think that is supposed to happen. What? So I just teleported from the bridge onto a bicycle-only path because I guess the X and Y axis is crossed for a second. I can't get back down from there. I'm gonna have to go all the way around. Well, I guess on the bright side, that does save me the trip because I would have had to backtrack to see what's up here, I guess. I guess that's speedrun strat for me playing super casually, I guess. I am confused. But okay. Oh wait, Shadow Ball, awesome. I love Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is one of the best ghost type moves in the game for just base damage, accuracy, chance to drop special defense. It's on every ghost type I've ever used that is specially attack focused. very happy to see that popping out of nowhere. Popping out of glitch, apparently. I was not paying attention.
Me lose to
Sure.
me lose to someone so young, I dare say not.
Did you? I don't have words for that accent. And given veteran Brian, I don't know, Kiwi, my brain has just been severely frazzled. I was not ready to just phase into the air like that. The real question is, can we repeat that glitch? And more importantly, can we get out of here? Because we do not want Celestabetha bothering with these guys. I'll keep Captain Squawk relatively untrained for now. We want to keep him... We don't want to overlevel Captain Squawk because we want to make sure we can use him for Fantasia's ghost types with his bite and hopefully crunch soon enough. So let's send out Pine Tree. Pine Tree can handle these water type just fine. Curious that the water type Pokemon did not choose to use any of its water type moves against the fire type. Gosh, I love the AI in this game. It's so unthreatening most of the time. I will at some point likely get into Pokemon ROM hacks because I really want to play Pokemon Infinite Fusions. That looks like such a fun game, and I will have so much fun just messing around with the fusions. And it sounds like it's got a pretty decent story to go along with it, so why not? And then certainly if I can get a mod or a ROM hack of what's it called, of Pokemon Coliseum, I wouldn't mind playing that at some point. And beyond that, I think the other thing is Black and White. So Black and White, I think a lot of people herald as the hardest Pokemon game, specifically Black and White 2. And I have actually never played Black and White 2, which is a shame because I crave difficulty in my Pokemon games. I was lamenting the loss of Pokemon Coliseum. Oh, would you look at that? Remember when I mentioned I would love for Manny the Dude Buster to learn Earth Power instead of Body Slam? Well, there we are. Earth Power instead of Body Slam. Base 90 damage, ground type special that scales with special attack, and has a chance of blowing special defense. It's basically Shadow Ball, but for ground types. You know what, why don't we celebrate that? Let's send out Manny the Dude Buster and use Earth Power. And assuming that we're not about to go see a flying type here. We are not. Granted, Muddy Water would do more damage and possibly knock him out, but actually, no, now that I think about it, the base damage on Earth Power is about the equivalent to, to Muddy Water. So, and we have the same type attack bonus from a part ground typing. So this is actually our strongest move by a landslide. Or by a eruption from the ground, I'm not sure. Some sort of different, it's not a landslide, it's some other kind of force of nature. It's an Earth Power, if you will. The power of youth, it's startling. I don't know what I landed on for this guy's voice, but it was a choice. It wasn't a good choice, and we'll probably not do it again. So I guess I'm gonna keep messing around with this and see if I can have it happen again. Anyway, Kiwi, I hope you've enjoyed watching. This was a weird episode. I don't know how I managed to accomplish that glitch, but I did. This game is still some kind of broken, apparently. With all that said, though, I hope you've enjoyed watching, and if you're awake, I hope this is helping you fall asleep. If you're sleeping, Kiwi, I hope you're sleeping well. I love you, and I will see you in the next one for some more Pokemon Shining Pearl.